The New World, yes, we're gonna watch the New World video, okay, guys? Now, New World, I want to say this, okay? New World is a game that has a lot of potential. It has a massive amount of potential. Now, whether that potential is going to be realized, I think that New World, though, I want to say something. New World did something that every other MMO has not done. In the history of MMOs, there's always been the inverse correlation. The less you know about an MMO, the more hyped up you are for it. And the more you learn about the MMO, the less hyped you are for the MMO. And New World got released, and it got released as like the alpha, and everybody saw it. And people were like, this sucks. And New World has gone through so many changes that people are now hyped up and excited about the game again, even though they saw it initially and they weren't hyped up. I think that's impressive.
Alright, what up guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be going over the New World update for April 2021. It's actually 2 whole videos worth of info, but we're going to try and fit it all into one. So with that said, I'll try and give you the cliff notes of what was said and not go over every single tiny change.
Alright.
One post is extensive patch notes on the game changes.
Holy shit.
And the other is a look inside their PvP
Jesus.
vision and new features coming to New World.
God
we'll
damn.
go over the vision first since it's likely to be more interesting, and the patch notes after. As always, at the end, I'll give you my opinion on everything that's happened, so stick around if you want my take. And if you do enjoy the video, leave a like on it. Let me know if you enjoy the content. Leave me a comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. All these things massively help my channel, which in turn helps my life considerably, so thank you very much.
Nice.
They plan to have PvP and PvE coexist in a way that allows for player freedom to swap between each facet of the game, depending on their current focus.
See, this is like one thing I genuinely feel like New World was released. The first time that I saw it or heard about it, it was a full PvP game. And I genuinely believe that New World saw how bad Phase 2 was for WoW Classic, and they changed the direction of the game based off of how bad that went for WoW Classic. 100%, man.
Quote, our goal is for players to receive equal rewards for the same time invested with similar risk. While flagging for PvP is required, they do want PvP to have a unique and meaningful role in the game.
That's good.
Open world PvP and wars will allow players to lay claim to areas of the game world and provide benefits to all players in their faction, and the April update introduces new features to support those goals.
Good.
One of the ways they plan to supplement these goals is faction control points. Most structured and large PvP in New World is scheduled or instanced, such as
it's like
Outpost
the Wars.
Rush, which is their new instance battleground, and Wars, which are instanced and scheduled. They wanted to create PvP hotspots in the open world to help foster and concentrate on PvP.
I think that makes sense. Like, whenever the whole world is PvP, at a certain point, you don't really know what's going on, because there's just so many other things in the game that are PvP. It's hard to really know what's what. So I think that's definitely a good thing. Yeah, having hotspots is really important. Like, even in like Dark Souls 3, right? You have like that one place that people fight right outside, right after Pontiff, and like people fight there. And every game is going to have these different places that just become PvP hotspots.
Found that the forts still out in the open world had no real use and was a complete waste, so they wanted to give their meaning outside of those wars.
Makes sense.
They've turned each fort into a control point for PvP that provides territory and global rewards for the controlling faction. Quote, these faction control points will give players a way to engage in open world PvP that directly benefits their faction. How will you participate in this? So forts will require you to be flagged for PvP before you can enter them, and they will have a control point which players will battle to claim. If a faction has more players inside that point than any of the other factions, the control point will slowly be captured by that faction. The more players inside will increase the rate at which it captures, and the status of each fort will be visible on the world map, so everyone can see which factions have claimed which fort and which forts are currently being contested. When rival
I like that. Dude, look at that axe. Look at that. I'm gonna go back. Watch this again. Watch this axe.
Fort and which forts are currently being contested.
That's fucking badass. That's the kind of shit that I want to use in a game. That's cool. This game's gonna be fucking amazing, bro. I don't know if it's gonna be that amazing. I mean, I hope that it's fun. Like, that's The thing is, as I said this before with like Ashes of Creation, whenever we watched the other video like 2 or 3 days ago, is that like I don't know if this game's gonna be good. I have no idea. But what I do know is that I want it to be good, and I'll try to give good feedback. I'll try to look at it positively, and you know, I'll do what I can. That's all it comes down to.
When rival factions are attacking a control point, you'll get a region-wide message alerting players that the location is being contested, and the control points are available to contest immediately upon another company claiming that territory. So you can go back and immediately go
just
try
get
to
it back.
capture it again.
That's good.
The only time that they're going to be inactive is just before and
boss,
after
man. Fuck
wars
that
and
boss.
invasions. In terms of rewards, they want these control points to be about the long-term value and controlling specific locations for buffs to that location.
So I want to see like what the big battles in the game are, because that's one question that I kind of have is like, what is the scale of like the battles in this game? Is it going to be like 5 people versus 5 people? Like what can it get? Can it be like 100 people in the area, 200 people in the area? When does it start lagging out? Because I think that one thing that MMOs really do that's special is they have like that large scale PvP, and you feel like you're part of a battle, like you're part of like the last battle in Lord of the Rings or something, right? And those kinds of things is what makes memories, right? It's cool, like big large scale world PvP. And if that's laggy and dysfunctional, or it's like really small scale, I feel like it's not really the same type of experience. 100 versus 100, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, dude.
They do not grant immediate rewards, but instead provide the faction members with 5% increased experience gain and 20% increased influence gain within said territory.
That's a lot.
Quote, additionally, each fort location has a unique global buff for their faction, such as decreasing specific taxes or decreasing Azoth costs for fast travel. They also plan to monitor the reception and activity at each of these points for data and feedback to help further tune the mechanics. So moving on to territory control incentives. With the inclusion of territory control incentives, the goal is to entice more players to take part in the land claim and protection of said territories. Benefits to being part of the faction owning a specific territory include linked storage between settlements owned by the same faction, and a resource cart in each town that gives you a small amount of crafting materials to each faction member.
Okay.
These are in addition to the already previously available perks to things such as fast travel, gathering volume, luck, and more. The bonuses get suspended if taxes are unpaid in the territory. So on to the Outpost Rush. To provide an alternative PvP experience to the war and the territory control.
My favorite part about the game is taxes. That's my favorite part of the game. Is taxes. And so like what we want to do is like, I don't know if I really want to make like a big, I would rather just kind of join another like company and just kind of be part of the team. I don't want to have to like make a team and fucking do this whole big thing like Olympus. I just want to play the fucking game, man, and join whatever team I need to get. Best part is taxes actually give good bonus instead of just draining your bank account. Well, the thing is, like, yeah, I guess that is good. Yeah, I just want to get the money from the taxes. That's all that really matters to me.
Systems, as well as to the people who prefer open world PvP. They have introduced the Outpost Rush, the first battleground.
Yeah,
so
it's basically a BG.
20 versus 20 in the battle, where you need to coordinate and balance your time to gather resources, build your outpost up, and capture objectives, as well as defeat the enemy players. So there's a little bit of something for everybody in here.
I actually am not really a big fan of the battlegrounds. I think that it makes the PvP in the game a little bit less personal. And I don't know really if it'll make the game better. Like, just giving people like a repeatable PvP mode, is that something that's really good? Because there's a part of me that actually really, like, I'll give you an example. So like in WoW, I was honor grinding every single day, but whenever they added battlegrounds, I stopped doing it because it was boring. Like, honor grinding out in the open world, whenever you're just out there by yourself in Western Plaguelands or Eastern Plaguelands, and you're by yourself and you see some other guy and you fucking 1v1 him out in the woods, like, that was so enjoyable and such a good experience. And I remember whenever they added battlegrounds, like Warsong Gulch, I did Warsong Gulch like 3 or 4 times, and then I was done doing Warsong Gulch. Like, what do you mean? I already did this. And there's a certain amount of like personality that the world PvP creates, but the problem is that like there's also a huge negative aspect to that too. And I know some people don't like that, but to me, here's the reality. I spent way more time doing PvP before Battlegrounds than after Battlegrounds. Doing it before Battlegrounds was a lot more fun, and I have a lot more memories of that. And doing it after Battlegrounds was just spamming BGs, farming and rolling over pugs. It just wasn't fun. Like, it wasn't fun. Like, I was not really a big fan of them adding a Battleground. Like, I don't know how it's going to go, but I hope that, you know, they have my perspective in mind. You hated Phase 2? Yeah, I think Phase 2 was really bad for me streaming. But whenever I was able to play by myself at night, where I wasn't being hunted down by 18 different clout chasers that wanted to make YouTube videos about me, then yeah, I really enjoyed myself. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself when I wasn't being completely outnumbered or hunted down by people that were stream sniping me. You know, like that's, yeah, it was way more fun then.
Level 60 players can join this as either a solo or in a group of up to 5 players. So how does it work? Both teams start in a fort on the opposite sides of the map. Between the forts are 3 outposts, Luna, Sol and Astra. Each have a control point you can stand in to capture, and you'll gain points for holding the outposts and additional points for killing enemies while holding them at the following rate. 1 point per 3 seconds, and PvP kills are also worth 1 point.
That's cool.
The first team to 1,000 points wins. There are additional mechanics at play to
Makes
supplement
sense.
this
You have
within the
objectives
map.
too.
So you can gather wood, ore, hides, and Azoth essences to reinforce your outpost. Each outpost has structures inside, such as an armory to spend battle tokens earned during the match on potions, ammo and items to help out, as well as strong food buffs. And there will be player storage sheds to share the resources you've gathered between your team, as well as to store them so you don't lose them upon death. Once you have control of one of the outposts, you can start gathering Azoth infused materials to build upgrades to the following structures, which can also be destroyed by the enemy team. So there's gates, which can be upgraded twice, which adds more doors.
All this makes sense, right? I mean, as I said, I think this is okay and looks good. Not gonna lie, yeah, this seems fine to me. Like, here's the thing, is that I think a lot of people, I just want to play the game. Like, I don't care. I just want to play the game. I want to get into it. Like, I hope that they release another week where we can play it, because I'm going to pop the fuck off playing this game. I'm going to be honest. I'm really looking forward to it.
Ability. Protection wards, which prevent the capture of the outpost and provide a respawn location for the team that owns that outpost.
I love the weather mechanics.
Different types of siege weapons to be built, and a command post that will give your team increased damage, armor, and a stream of battle tokens, which can be also upgraded twice for slightly stronger effects. There are also 3 objectives around the map. There's the Baroness Hane, which spawns every 10 minutes, and the team who deal the killing blow gain a strong buff that increases your health regen and defense for 3 minutes.
This reminds me a lot of like AV.
As well as freezing the enemy score for 3 minutes, so they can no longer gain progress towards the 1,000
It's like a
cap of winning.
PvP, PvE
A corrupted portal
event.
guarded by corrupted creatures.
This is
Teams
cool.
can deposit Azoth essences into the portal, and when one team has put 500 essences inside, it activates, and the player who made the final deposit gets an item that summons a powerful ally. You can use these items at summoning circles that are found throughout the map, and the ally...
I think that if they're going to do that, like, this is like a small thing, I think that they should give it to the person that committed the most rather than just the last person. Like, that's my opinion. Just the person who puts in the most rather than just like, you know, the last person to do it. But that's like such a small thing, it doesn't really matter.
Will defend the area where you summoned it. And then there will be turret emplacements that can be found at each fort, as well as Astra and Luna outposts. So that's everything from the PvP vision and newly added features. Now let's get started on the patch notes. I'm mostly going to summarize things here and hit on the more interesting points and not go over everything, as there's a lot of small changes and a lot of them won't make sense unless you've been playing the game recently. As always, there will be a link to the full patch notes in the video description if you want to go over this yourself. So right off the bat, a new and exciting weapon is added to New World. One that many have been asking for, the new magic, the Ice Gauntlet. Magic Gauntlet.
Dude, like, what the fuck is this Infinity Gauntlet bullshit, man? I don't want to see that. I want to, like, listen, here's what I want in the game, okay? I want to see a gigantic two-handed sword. I want a gigantic two-handed sword, not 200, and it's so big... It's like the Berserk sword, right? That's what I want to fucking see, man. It's already planned. Good. It's one-handed. I'll be right back. All right.
Weapon that harnesses powers of ice, scaling from the intelligence stat. There's going to be 2 mastery trees, the
This-
Ice Tempest, which will
this is
focus
cool.
on damage and area denial, and the Ice Conjurer,
this is
that
badass.
focuses on crowd control, protection, and deployable ice pylons that fight alongside the player, improving
What
power
the
and efficiency.
fuck?
This also, of course, comes
What
with a
the
legendary quest,
fuck?
which will grant you access to Ice Gauntlet named Rime Lash. Starting at
Okay.
level 60, you can head to Ranger Heatley in the Great Cleave to go and get this quest.
I wonder, like, if these legendary items, because I remember, like, looking at these in-game items, and crafting items do actually have the highest ceiling. So, like, if you have a really, really good crafting item, it will be better than the legendary items. And I think that's really important, because if you just have to do a quest and it's super easy to get your character geared out, what the fuck is the point, man? Wash hands? Why would I wash my hands, dude? I got a clean dick. Why would I
They
do
go over
that?
the specifics on the faction control points, which we
Yeah,
can
why would I
mostly
do
skip,
that?
but I will highlight a few key details. So 60 minutes after a war or invasion is completed is the timeline for when they are again active, and they are deactivated when a war or invasion is declared. The unique buffs for each fort is listed here. I'll put them up on screen. It's mostly just 5% reductions or buffs to certain elements of gameplay, such as crafting taxes, refining taxes, increases to rewards from corrupted breaches, reduced fast travel distance cost, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Nothing too major. 2 new expeditions have been added. Expeditions, if you're not aware, are more traditional dungeons of New World, not to be confused with the single boss instances, which are called arenas. So Lazarus Instrumentality Expedition has been added. You will be fighting the behemoth Chardis. Entered
Oh, this is like that fucking guy that jumped around that was, like, the sound was fucked up with him, the Spriggan. Yeah, this is the same thing.
a secret site that may hold the key to the origins of the ancient guardians and vanquish this monstrous threat. There'll be 2 boss encounters inside. Scylla, a creature utilizing both lethal weaponry and destructive magics.
That's
A
cool.
dual nature
That's
will
cool.
test the worth of those seeking to learn the ancient secrets. And Chardis, the colossal ancient construction, stands watch over the Lazarus Well, granting eternal power or swift destruction to those who awaken him.
That's
as well
really
as the Dynasty
cool.
Shipyard, the Empress of Ebenscale is building a fleet of warships.
I don't know
and will
what that's
stop it
really
by
gonna mean,
defeating
though.
the 2 included bosses, which will be Isabella's
Yeah.
pets. Joven and Oro obediently wait the Isabella's commands and their next meal. And of course, Zhou Taiying, elegant, graceful, and brimming with rage, this Empress in exile
Okay.
commands an army loyal beyond death and wields immense corruption energies to exact her revenge. An
Cool.
achievement system's also been implemented into New World. I think we're all
Oh.
too familiar with this system to go into great detail, but a few standouts are as follows.
Oh,
As of April 2021, there are 400
Wow.
achievements currently available, with more to follow.
Okay.
Some achievements are hidden behind a hint. They include a
Now-
summary
now
of
we're
how
getting
far into
serious.
achievements you are, so you can track your progress. There's a UI notification when you're 75% completed with an achievement, and a 100% gives a completion alert. Achievements are account bound, so for all characters, but progress is character specific, so you can't say.
so
you know, one
this is exactly what Blizzard does. Like, yeah, achievements are account wide, but the wait, actually, yeah, no, achievements weren't account wide at the beginning. Yeah, you had different achievements for every single character. So yeah, this is actually better than what they had at start Blizzard. Yeah, it makes sense though.
1,000 lumber to gather and do it 500 on one character, 500 on another. You just do all 1,000 and then it's unlocked on your entire account. And in the current test phase, the requirements for most achievements have been drastically lowered for that testing purpose. So on to the general changes. There's a voice-over lip sync included in the quest givers for the main story quest line now. PvP faction missions have been updated with a new style of missions, sending you to contested areas and tuning the rewards to reflect the increased risk level and investment involved. Each faction gets their own mission
Okay.
types to better immerse you in your chosen faction, and PvE faction missions are now multi-step across all territories minus Shattered Mountain, Great Cleave, and Eden Grove. This is designed to give players a curated tour to locations that fit the mission type. So for territory control
This is
incentive
all just like
specifics,
patch notes. I'm
storages
gonna
are going to
move
be
on
linked
past this.
So that's everything. I think
here
that
we
was a
go.
long one. That's definitely not what she said. But I think in general, if you look at what New World was, say 5 months ago, and
Yeah.
look at what it is today, it's inarguably in a better spot. With the
I really like
caveat
that weather effect.
you're talking
It's
about
really
the direction
badass.
that the developers intend to take the game. I'm not talking about preference. I'm not talking about your preference or my preference. Whether or not you're a PvP person, a PvE person, what you wanted the game to
Yeah.
be isn't my point. They clearly wanted to go in a theme park route, and when they were midway into that transition, it looked really, really bad for the game. They had
It
no
did.
content, they
It
had
was
no
really bad.
cohesive direction for the title, no actual theme park backbone or supporting features.
That's basically what we saw. We saw that weird middle ground where it was supposed to be a sandbox and it also had theme park elements, and it ended up just being shitty at both of them.
And it was looking really, really grim. I mean, a theme park with zero storyline, no Trinity, no dungeons, no battlegrounds, and a completely depleted PvP system would have done nothing at all in the market that we currently found ourselves in. Obviously, there's not a lot of competition for big new MMOs at the moment, but there would have been no reason other than the open world aspect of New World, which would have wore thin very quickly, to play New World, other than the fact that it was new for a very short period of time before going back to what you were already previously playing. However, New World in a very short amount of time have added in a lot of the core features required, and to be honest, the gearing and attribute system changes seem really, really good to me. In a way, it feels like they're taking a lot of ARPG mechanics with the buffs to certain talents from perks on items, the randomness of perks on items, and they've made a traditional treadmill system a bit more varied in that you'll likely want to craft and have crafted different versions of items to get your perfect build supplemented. With the Trinity system now in there as well, they're going to continually add traditional theme park PvE content.
See, people always get they always get mad about having tank healers and DPS, but every single time that somebody tries to do something different than having tank healers and DPS, it always sucks. It's always fucked up. There's always something wrong with it, and it doesn't really work that well.
Which hopefully by release will be difficult and deep enough to allow for that crowd to be happy, as well as some PvP elements that the less hardcore PvP crowd can get into, such as the Battleground, which seems quite varied and has some interesting mechanics in there. Although I haven't played it yet, it does seem like it could be quite involved in playing that. However, there's a massive problem in all of this, and that is the fact that I still think the faction system and the way that they're doing territory control is absolutely destined to be the doom of the game in its current state. Right now,
I think it could also be a really big issue too, because you know what the faction system reminds me of? Do you guys remember whenever Fall Guys came out? And it was always the meta whenever it was a three-way where it was like the green team or like the red team, the blue team, and the yellow team. It was always the meta to fuck over yellow. And like both the two teams just automatically win against yellow. Yeah, kill yellow every single time. And fuck the yellow. And it's like, it was just the... really, that's what happened. And it became like a meme. Like, you guys, it's the fucking meme. And so, yeah, I think that could absolutely happen with these professions. This could totally be, not professions, sorry, factions. That could totally happen. And I'm worried about that. Yeah, I am. But we'll have to wait and see how it goes. I remember back in the alpha, whenever we played it, like almost everybody was Marauders. Like, it was like fucking 70% Marauders, 20% the other guys, or probably like 60% Marauders, 30% the other guys, and then 10% were like this weird loser faction that nobody cared about.
They've put themselves in a position whereby dominant factions will exist and will absolutely destroy server activity in populations and competitiveness for those faction territory controls.
Because, yeah, it's a self-perpetuating problem. Like, once you have one faction imbalance, like, if you're at, like, you know, 55-45, it's not that bad. But once you get to 60-40, even 60-40 means that the other team has like way more people than you do. Like, whenever you do the math and you think about how much that really is, then it gets even worse. And so let's say you're on the 40%. What are you thinking? I should go to the 60% because you don't want to lose. And then everybody else is thinking the same thing. And let's say you have some holdouts. Well, then whenever the 60% turns into 70% and the 40% turns into 30%, then you have more people that are like, fuck. I think I might have to swap over because I literally can't play the fucking game. There's a max amount percentage for each faction. Yeah, but that's like really gamey. Like, I don't know if it's the right decision in general to do this. I think they could try it and release it like this, and if it's really bad, just change it. I think that games, like game directors and game developers, they need to be willing to just throw shit away if it's not working. Like, if this is not working, if this is bad for the game, change it now. Don't wait for a big patch. Don't wait for anything. Fix the problem immediately. And I know Path of Exile does this, and it's a good idea. I think that, yeah, immediate action, immediate changes, and immediate responses.
On top of that, the perks for owning territories and the system by which you attack them are flawed in that they will not assist you in fighting back against a stronger opposition in any way. I don't see how the system will work out long term on a live server with competition, and we've seen in the alpha so far in the summer event testing that population imbalance and faction imbalance, even in the short term, was a huge issue.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they can do at this point in development since the faction system seems to be so woven into the fabric of design, but I do not think the faction system is fit for purpose and could be a massive sticking point a month or so post-launch of the live servers. Aside from
I think you'll have probably a handful of servers that are good, and then all the rest of the servers are going to be dominated by one faction. Like that's just the reality. It's just going to be dominated by one faction. I don't know how to solve that problem because I don't know like all the caveats to the game. But overall, I do think that it's a big issue. The same as WoW. Well, this is what's happening, right? Is like every expansion, there have been more guilds that are Horde. Like without Blizzard changing anything. It's a self-perpetuating problem. And probably in 2 expansions from now, Blizzard is probably going to have to enable cross-faction raiding and cross-faction play. Because if they don't do that, there's going to be no way to play Alliance. It sucks, but there it is. Population control is about the only way to fix it. But no, population control sucks, man. Because, like, let's say you're playing the game and you want to play with your friend and you can't play with your friend because your friend is in one faction and he can't change or he doesn't want to change. And then you can't play with him. Like, that sucks, man. And honestly, I'm not saying it's the wrong answer. Maybe they have to do that. Maybe that is the thing that they have to do. But I think that it should be viewed as an absolute last resort.
I think the fort control point system is a little bit of an oddity. The rewards that they give are so minor that I cannot see them being a huge focus for people. And the fact anyone from any faction at any time can fast travel teleport to the nearby city to go and contest the fort makes them extremely throwaway. The rewards are so minor.
I think that if you're having a PvP battle, you shouldn't allow people to fast travel. Like, you shouldn't let people fast travel if you're having a PvP battle. Like, it doesn't really make sense. I don't like it. I didn't even like it in AV. Like, for example, you know how, like, you could use that trinket and you would be able to teleport back to your base in AV? I hated that. Because you'd be fighting and then you'd have like 20 people just randomly fucking teleport on top of you. That was so dumb. I know like sometimes there were some cool moments that it created, but I don't think that you should have that in a PvP game because it makes it harder to plan strategy. And it makes strategic mistakes less impactful. And in a game like this, I think strategic mistakes should be what, to a large degree, define success. I still have that stupid thing? Yeah, I do too.
The ability to travel them is so easy, and being constantly vulnerable, even after just being taken, to me just means that they're going to be a mess. I don't see them adding much value to the game in the current implementation at all. I mean, think about this. To hold the fort, you have to be there. And if you're there, you cannot be using the buffs that the fort gives you. So holding the fort only benefits the people in your faction who aren't there helping you at the fight. Which makes no sense, especially when...
That's a really... honestly, that's the kind of logic that these games need. Like, you just think it out like this, it's like, wait a second, how does this make any fucking sense? It doesn't, man. It doesn't at all.
You know that as soon as you leave, the people from the nearby town, or the people who teleport to the nearby town, can just come and immediately take it over again.
Yeah.
It seems like a really shallow and pointless system so far, but maybe that will change when I've seen it in play. I can't see it being the case because words on paper, it sounds honestly not very good, but maybe that will be the case. Aside from those issues, most of these things are nothing but positive. I absolutely love the implementation of stat breakpoint bonuses to further make builds feel different and deep. Being able to balance between having all these different perks, buffing abilities on your weapons with attribute bonuses, different weapon combinations,
dude, I want to play this
different
game
armor
right now.
weights, and even more. That means there should be some huge diversity in builds that people are going to be running. Compare that to the testing phase and the previous alpha where everyone just ran heaviest armor possible with lightweight perks for more mobility and the life staff. This is a huge improvement.
Yeah, that's the problem, is like the game wasn't balanced very well, and because it wasn't balanced very well, it just made everybody play the exact same thing. Everybody was doing the exact same thing. Like, everybody went and they all used the hatchet. They had the hatchet, the life staff, and usually the bow. I would say most people probably had that. They had at least 2 of those items. And then on top of that, almost everybody was using the heavy armor. And then everybody was not really using the blocking. Like, it became super formulaic. And I do worry that next time this game comes out and it hits a huge audience, that it's not going to be no meta. It's just going to be a different meta. And everybody's going to have the 2-handed mace, or everybody's going to have the musket, or they have the bow again. So I do worry about this.
For sure. Now, having a real main story quest with voice acting, dungeons, battlegrounds, we're actually seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and they've made so much progress in these last 4 months that I can honestly see a launch in 2021 or shortly after, which I've not been able to say since this project was announced in any other year.
Yeah, I think it's
never been
out
close to being finished. Great signs for the game so far in 2021, honestly, and everything seems to be going in the right direction for the type of game they're going for, and hopefully they can keep up with the progress. With the cancellation of Amazon's Lord of the Rings MMO, they have allocated developers to New World now that were previously on that project, so hopefully that helps speed things up, and I'm hoping the progress continues steadily. So thanks as always for watching. Check out my socials in the video description. I have Twitch and Discord. I'm active on both. Twitch every couple of days and Discord daily if you have content ideas or just want to come hang out. I also have a Patreon if you want to support my content further with a little bit of cash thrown my way each month, which you won't get anything back for apart from my gratitude. And I hope you'll help me out with some comments and likes on the video. Let me know what you think, as well as a subscription to the channel to support my content going forward. And hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe out there. We out. Peace.
I think it was a recipe for disaster trying to work on 2 MMOs at the same time, man. It just was. It was a recipe for disaster. And I'm glad that they're not doing it.